Beloved chosen one, something has been moving behind the curtain, and your spirit has felt it before your mind could explain it. There is a reason your peace has been challenged in unusual ways. A reason small things have carried strange weight. A reason certain battles have felt too coordinated to be random. You are not imagining the tension. You are not being dramatic. You are standing near a hidden snare, a spiritual trap set with patience, disguised as delay, confusion, offense, exhaustion, and carefully timed discouragement. The enemy does not always come with noise. Sometimes the attack is arranged like a silent room, where your strength slowly leaks out, your focus is divided, and your heart is tempted to react before it remembers how to pray. That is why this message reaches you now. This is not coincidence. This is divine intervention. What has been formed against you is subtle because your calling is serious. The trap is not only meant to hurt you, it is meant to pull you out of position. If the enemy can make you speak too quickly, trust too blindly, fear too deeply, or withdraw too completely, then the trap begins to close. But heaven is opening your eyes before the full weight of it lands. You are being warned because you are loved. You are being alerted because you are marked for purpose. What was designed to catch you will not succeed if you remain spiritually awake. The danger in a trap is not only the trap itself, but the bait attached to it. Sometimes the bait is the need to be understood. Sometimes it is the urge to defend yourself immediately. Sometimes it is a door that looks easy, a voice that sounds flattering, or an opportunity that appears to solve everything at once. But you must not mistake urgency for instruction. You must not confuse pressure with permission. There are moments when the holiest thing you can do is pause, become still, and let God expose what your emotions cannot yet discern. You have survived too much to be taken out by something disguised as relief. The Word of God declares in the book of Proverbs, chapter 26, verse 27, "Whoever digs a pit will fall into it. If someone rolls a stone, it will roll back on them." Hold that word close. The pit prepared in secret is not greater than the hand of God. The scheme arranged in darkness is not stronger than divine justice. What others tried to engineer around your life will not have the last word. The Lord is revealing, separating, and shielding even now. So do not panic, do not rush, do not take the bait. Stand still long enough to see what heaven is uncovering. Like this message, share it with someone who needs this warning. Subscribe if you are walking this journey by faith, and comment 317 if you know God is exposing every hidden trap around you. You begin to recognize the trap by its patterns. Spiritual warfare rarely announces itself with a label. It reveals itself through repetition, through pressure that keeps arriving at the same weak moment, through thoughts that do not sound like your true voice yet press against your mind with strange persistence. One day it is unusual heaviness when you wake. Another day it is irritation without a clear cause. Then it becomes confusion in places where you were once clear. Tension in relationships that once felt steady. And a growing temptation to isolate yourself so completely that nobody can speak wisdom into your battle. This is how many chosen ones are targeted. The attack is arranged to feel personal, exhausting, and invisible. You know something deeper is happening when ordinary setbacks begin carrying spiritual weight. Delays start multiplying at critical moments. Misunderstandings rise just when peace is needed most. You find yourself revisiting the same emotional wound, as if an unseen hand keeps pressing on an area God is trying to heal. There are also moments when your discernment sharpens suddenly, and you sense that not every smile is clean, not every invitation is safe, not every connection is sent by God. The trap works by trying to wear down your spiritual senses until you start calling warning signs normal. But your spirit is waking up again. One of the clearest signs is disproportion. A small event creates an unusually large internal reaction. A simple conversation steals your peace for hours. A minor disappointment opens the door to hopelessness, self-doubt, or fear about your future. That is not because you are weak. It is because the enemy studies access points. He looks for fatigue, grief, old rejection, and unanswered questions, then tries to turn them into openings. Yet what he studies, God already understands more deeply on what darkness hopes to exploit. Heaven can expose and heal. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 2, verse 11. So that Satan will not outsmart us, for we are familiar with his evil schemes. That word matters because it calls you out of passive suffering and into holy awareness. You do not have to live confused about every cycle that keeps circling your life. You are allowed to notice patterns. You are allowed to test spirits, examine fruit, and step back when something feels spiritually wrong. Being loving does not mean being unguarded. Being chosen does not mean being careless. The more clearly you see the schemes, the less power they have to define your steps. What once felt random begins to look revealed, and what is revealed before God can no longer remain hidden in the same way. Now the battle moves from recognition to decision, because once a trap is exposed, the next danger is reaction. This is where many chosen ones lose ground, not because they fail to see the snare, but because they answer it too quickly. The enemy knows he cannot always destroy you by force, so he studies how to provoke you into stepping outside your covering. He uses insult to stir your pride, delay to inflame your frustration, silence to awaken your insecurity, and unfairness to tempt you into carnal retaliation. That is the bait. The trap is not only what was prepared around you. The trap is the version of you that pain tries to awaken. You must understand this with holy seriousness. Every battle does not require your voice. Every accusation does not deserve your response. Every open door is not your assignment. There are moments when your restraint is the very weapon that breaks the scheme. When you refuse to argue in the flesh, refuse to chase what God did not send, refuse to make a desperate decision just because pressure is mounting, you deny darkness the reaction it came to collect. Self-control is not weakness. It is evidence that your spirit is not owned by the moment. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 21, verse 19, "By your patience possess ye your souls." That word is a command for this hour. Possess your soul. Do not hand your peace over to people who thrive on agitation. Do not surrender your discernment because something looks urgent. Do not let emotional hunger make you call poison provision. There is a reason heaven keeps whispering. Do not do it no matter the price. Some choices feel small while they are being offered, but they carry consequences far beyond the moment. A rushed conversation can open a wound. An unguarded agreement can create a burden. One step taken in irritation can delay what obedience was about to release. So this is your breaking point, but it is also your proving ground. You are being invited to master the moment before the moment masters you. Breathe before you answer. Pray before you decide. Wait before you attach meaning to what you cannot yet fully see. God is not asking you to be passive. He is teaching you to move from authority instead of impulse. The trap weakens when you remain still enough to hear heaven clearly. The bait loses power when your appetite is submitted to God. And what was meant to pull you off course becomes the place where your maturity becomes visible. Comment, "I choose stillness" as your act of agreement, because holy restraint is how you close the enemy's access and keep your soul under God's command. This is the moment where you stop merely identifying the snare and begin tearing it down in the spirit. A trap is broken first by light, then by authority, then by prayer that comes from surrender instead of panic. You do not pray this kind of prayer as someone begging a distant God to notice you. You pray as someone who knows heaven has already marked your life, already heard your cries, and already moved before the enemy finished building what was meant to hold you. The power is not in volume. It is not in performance. It is in agreement with the will of God. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Isaiah, chapter 54, verse 17. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue which rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. So now you pray with holy precision. Father, in the name of Jesus, expose every hidden trap laid against my mind, my calling, my health, my family, and my future. Break every snare disguised as opportunity, every lie disguised as wisdom, every relationship disguised as help, and every delay designed to exhaust my faith. I cancel agreement with fear, confusion, manipulation, and torment. I renounce every reaction the enemy expected from me. I place my emotions under your rule, my thoughts under your truth, and my steps under your command. Let every secret scheme collapse under the weight of your presence. Let every evil word sent against me return empty. Let every chain around my peace be shattered. Guard my gates, cleanse my discernment, strengthen my inner man, make me impossible to bait and difficult to distract. Where darkness studied me, let your spirit overrule. Where the enemy planted pressure, let your peace take dominion. Where a net was hidden, let fire pass through it. I declare that I belong to Jesus Christ, and no counterfeit claim will stand over my life. Stay there for a moment in your spirit. This is not a rushed prayer. This is a reclaiming. This is where you take back the ground that anxiety tried to occupy. This is where your mouth stops repeating the threat and starts enforcing the promise. The enemy fears believers who pray with clarity, because clear prayer closes doors that vague fear leaves open. And when you begin to pray like this consistently, the atmosphere around your life changes. What once lingered cannot linger the same way. What once pressed on you begins to lose permission. Messages like this reach people in moments when they truly need strength. And when you support this work, even quietly, you help keep that light moving towards someone standing in their own midnight battle. But right now, the most important thing is this: the trap does not get the final word, God does. And His answer over your life is freedom, covering, and victory. Now you see why the trap did not succeed. It was never because the battle was small. It was because the hand of God over your life was greater than the scheme against you. What was arranged in secret has been brought into light. What was meant to exhaust you has instead trained you. What was supposed to lure you into fear, reaction, and spiritual confusion has become the ground where your authority rises stronger than before. You are not leaving this battle fragile. You are leaving it sharpened. You are not walking away merely relieved. You are walking away instructed, guarded, and changed. There is a difference now in how you carry yourself. You do not move with the same desperation that the enemy expected. You do not panic as quickly. You do not cling to every door. You do not mistake noise for direction. Something steadier is being built in you, and that steadiness is dangerous to darkness. When a chosen one learns how to stay covered, how to test what approaches, how to refuse the bait, and how to pray through the pressure, the enemy loses one of his favorite weapons, predictability. He can no longer count on your panic. He can no longer rely on your haste. He can no longer assume that pain will make you abandon discernment. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 124, verse 7. We have escaped like a bird from the snare of the fowlers. The snare is broken, and we have escaped. That is your testimony now. The snare is broken, and you have escaped. Not by luck, not by human strength alone, not because every person around you had pure intentions. You escaped because God intervened where you could not see, warned you when you were vulnerable, restrained you when you were tempted to move too fast, and covered you when the attack thought it had perfect timing. This is what makes you difficult to curse and hard to contain. Heaven keeps teaching your hands for war and your spirit for wisdom. So walk forward with clean focus. Let your yes be guided. Let your no be unashamed. Let your peace become expensive, protected, and surrendered only to God. You do not need to announce every victory for it to be real. You do not need revenge to prove that justice exists. You do not need to fear hidden things when the Lord keeps proving that nothing hidden escapes His sight. The next season of your life must not be entered with the mindset of prey. You are not surviving by scraps. You are moving as one preserved by mercy, trained by fire, and marked by divine purpose. The trap is behind you. The lesson remains. The covering remains. And the God who brought you through will keep you beyond their reach. Comment 528 below if you believe God has broken the snare and is leading you into a season of guarded peace, clear discernment, and unstoppable forward movement. As this message settles over your spirit, let it rest there like rain sinking into thirsty ground. If it truly met you in the place where words rarely reach, then like this message as one would place a seal on a letter from heaven, a quiet mark that says this moment mattered. Share it like passing a warm cloak through a winter storm, so another weary soul can feel covered too. Comment not as routine, but as leaving your small candle in a window, a sign that faith is still alive in your house. Subscribe like choosing to remain near the well where living water continues to rise when the world leaves you dry. And if you feel led to donate, let it be like laying a piece of bread on the altar, simple, sacred, and full of love, so this light can keep traveling farther into places your hands may never touch.